Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I have not done a Q&A video here in well over a year. So it's a beautiful day out and I thought let's just have a fun chatty video. I asked you guys some questions here on YouTube and over on Instagram, so I'm going to try to answer a bunch of them in this video. So the first question that I want to answer is, how often do you go away for a camping weekend and how do you balance camp life and work life? So all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, honestly, so much of my camp life now is my work life, but I will say that I don't live in a van. I don't travel full time. I'm probably very similar to what you do. I go away on weekend trips, 2 to 3 days, and I just try to get out as often as I can for local hikes throughout the week, especially in the summer. And so I don't travel full time or live out of a van, and I have no desire to do that. I love what I get to do every day. I still am just so beyond grateful that this is my work and I've been able to build up a business around educating people on camping and hiking and just sharing that lifestyle. And I'm so grateful to myself years ago for taking that risk and taking that leap. But I also really love my home life, and I love having the ability to come home to a consistent place and get some work done, and probably most importantly, have a community at home. And I think if I traveled full time at this point, I would really miss sort of that groundingness and that connection that you get when you have a community of people back at home. And I think that community is really, really important. And so, you know, Nick and I go to the gym and we have friends at the gym that we see day after day. And I work from home, primarily editing, but everything that you see on my YouTube channel is pretty much me through and through. I plan out the videos, I outline them. Nick will sometimes help me set up the camera, and that is probably my least favorite part of the whole process, is like setting all of the gear up to actually sit down and film, but then I edit the videos. And so much of my work and camp life is blended, but at the same time, I go out on trips and then I come home and I focus on work for a week or two and then go out on another trip. This year I would like to do some longer trips, and so we'll see if I can make that happen this year, but that's kind of my routine right now, and I do really like that. Would you recommend taking a wilderness first aid course? My answer is absolutely yes. I recommend getting as much training as you possibly can. You never can learn too much, and I think the more know-how and skills and experience you have going out to camping or hiking, the better off you're going to be, and the more able you're going to be to adapt to changing conditions and maybe not so great scenarios that you might encounter. So the more prepared you can be, the better. I have the Wilderness First Responder certification. I've been doing that I'm actually due to renew it this summer. I think that will be the third time that I'm taking the course. So that course has been great, just sort of illuminating a lot of the things that could go wrong and how to handle them. So I think those skills are crucial, and there's something that not enough hikers and backpackers and campers have. If you want just a good introduction to that, I do have an intro to first aid video on my channel, so I'll link to that below, and that's really just a great starting point to start to think about some of the things that you're going to want to be prepared for and know how to handle when it comes to first aid. Okay, this one's kind of funny. Do you believe in extraterrestrial life? Okay, so I have spent a lot of time in the darkness, out in the wild, looking up at an incredible dark, starry night sky. I have spent hours and hours talking to Nick about the universe and like trying to wrap my brain around the vastness of it. Our little planet and our solar system is so dang small, and it's just really fun to stretch your brain to really kind of try to conceptualize just the size of the universe. So that being said, I definitely think that there is some other life out there. I mean, there kind of just has to be. It's so big. It would be crazy that we're the only life form, but I have no idea what that looks like. I don't know if it really looks like ET or aliens in the movies, but I do think that there's probably some other life out there. Okay, this next one was a very common question, and it is how to use the bathroom when there is no bathroom. I will tell you, go and poo in the woods, it's not that bad. I have a little shovel called the Deuce, and I take that one backpacking. It comes in so many fun little colors, so you can at least pick out a cool color. And when I'm going car camping and I'm driving my car up to a spot in the national forest or whatever, I usually have a bigger shovel in my car because it's just a little bit easier. So you're gonna take your shovel and you're gonna dig a little hole. The most effective enzymes for breaking down the poo live about 8 inches deep. So the general rule of thumb is to dig a hole 6 to 8 inches deep, and then you do your business. It's really not that bad. If you want the ultimate guide, there is a book called How to Shit in the Woods, and it has everything you would ever want to know about how to do that and why to do that. It's actually it's a funny read. It's well written and it's sort of entertaining. And then there's a whole chapter also on just female stuff. So all your questions can be answered in that book, and I will link to it below. How do you get more comfortable outdoors? And there's two parts to my answer here. First one is gain knowledge and skills. Take courses like we talked about with the wilderness first aid. One of the things that really can empower you and put you at ease is just gaining knowledge, gaining skills, practicing things, and thinking about the scenarios that you're scared of and what you would do if you encountered them. I know it's not super fun to do that, but it is important to think through these things. And the more I found, just the more knowledge that I have when it comes to first aid and survival, what to do if I see a bear, all these things, the more at ease and confident I feel when I actually go out and do the thing. And this applies to like everything in life. Now, that being said, you can sort of get into this rut where you're just constantly trying to gain information and you never actually do things. So my next tip for getting comfortable outdoors is to just do it and to start small. So for example, let's say that you want to go on a multi-day backpacking trip. I don't recommend that you just do that right off the bat. I recommend that you start with local day hikes and see how you feel. Gain some experience, gain some knowledge, and then you're gonna be more comfortable the more you do it. So do a short little day hike, and then do a longer day hike, and then do a one-night backpacking trip close to home. And then you can start to think about 2 nights or 3 nights. So it happens slowly over time, and I think gaining the knowledge and skills and then actually going outside and doing things slowly over time really is the way to get more comfortable. So instead of doing like a full-on intense trip so far out of your comfort zone, maybe just take a step out of your comfort zone and do a little day hike. And that's really kind of what I've done and how I approach when I want to learn new things, or if I want to do something that feels kind of scary to me, is I learn all about it, I do a ton of preparation, and then I start small and build up confidence, and before you know it, you're gonna be backpacking for days and weeks. So much of what I share on this channel, I have learned from doing it wrong. I heard a quote once that I love. I don't remember where I heard it, but it went something like, those who have experience have just done it wrong more times than you, or something. So much of what I've learned has been from actually getting out there and doing it. Next, we have tons of questions just about solo camping and safety in general. But I have a video on this topic. I had my friend Austin on the channel over the summer, and Austin was in the military. He currently works for search and rescue. And so through that work, he's really seen a lot of examples, unfortunately, of what not to do and the things that have gotten people into trouble and have had him out on search and rescue calls. And so I had him on the channel, and we had a really good conversation just about safety in general when you're camping and hiking, and so the ways that you can really set yourself up for a successful, safe trip. So check that video out in the description. Besides filming and cooking and just working on your YouTube channel, what are your favorite activities when you're out camping? I love the slowness of camping and the fact that you usually have just a lot of time to not do a whole lot. And so I usually will kind of sit in the sun. So on this last trip, I just went down to the desert, and I just laid there on a sunny rock because it is winter here, and going down to the desert where it was 60 degrees and super sunny just felt like the most incredible thing. So I just laid there on a rock. I like to read. I usually bring books and I will just read out in the sun. That's one of my favorite things to do. I also like to draw. I really like to draw mandalas, and if you've been with my channel for a long time, you'll remember I talked all about that. And I still draw mandalas, and they're just kind of like little doodles. I'm not a good drawer at all, but I found that mandalas are very relaxing and almost therapeutic to just draw because it's like a lot of repeating patterns and circles and stuff. So I'll just sit and I'll draw that. We bring games sometimes. We have cards. My new favorite game is called Quicks, and it's such a fun dice game. I think it's 2 to 5 players. So we really like that one. I like to work on photography. I just launched my new photography print shop, which has some of my ice macro photos, which I'm so proud of. Sitting around the campfire, that's another one. Contemplating the universe, like I already talked about. There's a lot of, just sitting around and relaxing. Honestly, when I go camping, that is like the one time that I truly do feel relaxed. I do pretty good with like self-care. I don't feel like I'm one of those people that's like in the hustle and just like working constantly. But even at home, I have trouble just really, truly, deeply relaxing. Those are some of the things that I like to do other than filming for the channel. Planning a trip to Utah in March, any warm places you recommend? First of all, welcome to Utah. And yes, there are some great places to go camping and hiking in Utah in March if you want warmer weather. I always head down to southern Utah. So St. George area specifically is where I go at least once in the winter to get some sunshine. It's usually a lot warmer than it is up here in the north. And St. George area is just beautiful. There's tons of hiking there. There are state parks. Snow Canyon State Park is, I think it might be my favorite state park in Utah. It's really, really beautiful. There are tons of hiking. There's a really nice campground there. I don't do a ton of campground camping. I usually do dispersed camping, and there is dispersed camping there as well. But Snow Canyon State Park Campground is one of my favorites, and we have stayed there every year for the past 3 years. So we just love it, and it's really, really beautiful. That's where I was on my last trip earlier this week, was down in Snow Canyon. And I filmed some videos that are coming to my channel soon. Yeah, so Snow Canyon would be a great area to check out, and St. George in general. I actually have some blog posts all about Snow Canyon and hikes in St. George, which I will link to in the description below. But other than St. George, some other areas to think about are the Escalante area. There's tons of camping and hiking down there. Kanab is another area that I love, probably not quite as warm as St. George and Escalante. And then Moab, again, Moab is a little bit more north, so it's not going to be as warm, but March is a really nice time to be down there. And then there's national parks in Moab. I mean, Moab has so much to do. Another state park that I really liked was Kodachrome Basin. I went there last year, and that's sort of in the Escalante area. So there's lots of options in southern Utah, but I think the warmest one would probably be the St. George area. The last question is, what are your goals and visions for the future? And I'm gonna kind of answer that for both personal and for the YouTube channel. So let's start with a little bit of reflection on last year. I got to the end of last year and I just kind of felt a little bit disappointed that not a whole lot in my life had really evolved and moved in a positive direction. I kind of felt like after an entire year of work and life, I was just sort of in the same spot that I was before. And so I started thinking about that, and honestly, I kind of coasted through the year. And what I mean is, in years past, I've always challenged myself to try new things, to get out of my comfort zone consistently, and to just always be learning. And last year, for some reason, I really didn't do a lot of that stuff. It was just a lot of little habits that I sort of adopted. And then after a year, I was like, oh, wow, this isn't good. This isn't really just the direction that I want to go. It's not even like anything bad happened or anything like that. Like overall, life is good. But I just think, like, personally, I know that I'm not not my best. I guess looking back, as hard as it is to admit to myself, I feel like I kind of coasted. That's just the best way I can describe it. And so I love the book Atomic Habits. I've talked about this before. And he kind of says in the beginning of the book, he says something like, you know, bad habits, you adopt them slowly over time and then later realize you have a problem. And that's kind of what it was. I started eating a little bit more junk food. I started working out a little bit less. Yeah, just these little habits that weren't great that over the course of a year ended up just kind of being like a flat year for me. So I started off this year, I brought my notebook. So I do bullet journaling, and I wrote on my 2022 page, let me find it. I wrote, if you want to find a better path, you have to be willing to explore a different path. And that is something that James Clear wrote in one of his email blasts. So James Clear is the author of that Atomic Habits book, and I read his newsletters as well. And so he wrote that in there, and that like really spoke to me. If you want to find a better path, you have to be willing to explore a different path. And then it went on to say, like, how often do you really do something different? And that really summed up my year. When I thought about it, I was like, dang, this year, as in last year, I didn't really learn new things. I didn't read that many books. I didn't jump out of my comfort zone like I had before. And the result was I just kind of felt flat at the end of the year. And so I just started by making small changes. One of the simple ones is reading more. And this year already, it is mid-February, I have already read more and learned more than I have the entire year last year. And so I do feel like I'm really kind of motivated and excited to just get into some better habits in my everyday life moving forward this year. I don't actually really set goals personally at the beginning of the year as this like big New Year's thing. I just don't do that. I have like some things that I'd like to do this year, but I don't set those like hard, concrete, specific goals for my personal life. I do set more goals for business stuff. But even this year, I've kind of taken a step back from that, because sometimes like just really specific goals, especially goals that you can't always control, whether or not you achieve, just sort of set you up for failure. And so this year, I just kind of want to not get super caught up in that. I will say though, I do have one number related goal that I've just had for years, and I'm just sticking with it. And it is to reach 100K subscribers on YouTube. So hopefully we can do that this year. That has just been a goal of mine. It really, not even a goal, just like a straight up pipe dream of mine for so long. And so it would be really cool if we could reach that this year. That's kind of one of the big milestones for YouTubers. It's something that YouTube actually recognizes, and it's just a really cool milestone. So I have that, but other than that, for business, I've kind of taken a step back from a lot of these really specific number related goals. Now, in terms of the vision for this channel, oh my gosh, there's so many exciting things coming, well, that I'm hoping to bring to the channel. So I've said this before, but I truly love this channel. Like, I really, really mean that. And this is a platform that I can be creative, and I can teach, and I can create videos that help you get outside with your friends and family and experience the relaxation and the peace that I was talking about earlier in this video. So it is such a joy for me to make these videos, and I want to continue to grow and expand with this channel and branch out into some other things. So I have some ideas for right now 3 different video series that I want to do. They're all outdoor related, but they're a little bit different than some of the content I've done up to this point. So I have a lot of ideas. It's just a matter of like getting things together to actually execute them. One of the ideas will require a film crew probably. So I have no idea how to make that happen, both finding people and also financially. So there's a lot of little things to work out, but I'm so excited for the future of this channel and just some of the content that I want to bring you guys, in addition to my normal camping stuff as well. So that's gonna still be a big part of the channel, and I'm just so grateful that every day I feel like I can come here and talk to you and be free to create things for this channel. I don't feel like I'm pigeonholed into something. I know a lot of YouTubers kind of feel like they can only talk about one thing, and then over time, you know, they grow and their channel doesn't grow with them. And I am so grateful that I do really feel like, you know, you and I, we're friends. When I sit down to talk, I feel like we know each other, you know, like it's just really cool. And I'm so grateful for this every single day. And yeah, hang tight, because if I can actually find a way to make these ideas happen, it's going to be really cool. So that is it. I am really, really cold. I'm actually starting to shiver. So I have got to get to the sun, which is just right there, but I can't film in the sun because the sun reflects off the snow and then I can't keep my eyes open. So I was like really warm in the sun, but now I've gotten really cold. So that is it for this Q&A video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Let's hit 100K this year. And I will see you guys in the next one.